we're going. Right. Hey guys, it's Crazy Comic Lady here, and if you're new to my channel, hello! And if you're back, or one of my old subscribers, I can't believe you guys have stuck with me this long because I haven't uploaded in 3 years. So it's kind of ironic, the last video that went up on my channel at the beginning of 2020, and it was all exciting, and these are all the plans I'm going to do for 2020 regarding my art. Yeah, none of that happened because we all know what happened in 2020. The world imploded. So when that happened, I kind of lost my art mojo, and oh, I have a drill stuck to my hand. These things get everywhere. Yeah, I lost my art mojo, and just a few months ago, back in November 2023, no, that's this year, 2022 November, I got really into diamond painting. I was like, I will give this a go, see if it's fun or anything, because I've been having such terrible trouble with my mental health and my anxiety and everything over the last few years. So I decided to give it a go, and I was hooked. So now all I do is diamond painting. I don't do art at all. So I'll show you what I'm working on. This is The Dreaming Kitsu by, I think it's Heather R. Hitchman. This is my little book, my diamond logbook. So I can pull it open and it will say the name. Right, so there's the artwork of what it looks like when it's all done. Yeah, and it was by Heather R. Hitchman. I've got all my notes about it as well, and that was the washi tape that came with the kit. And I did a little doodle of the cover minder that I got with the kit, which is over here, little cover minder, pretty little flower, so it really matches with the green. After I started this, I realised there was an Emerald Along event that starts quite soon, and I was like, this would have been perfect because it's like all green. One of the entry requirements was it has to have at least, you know, like a hand, or hold on, do it over here, like a hand of green. I put it over here because there's lots of green in this corner. Yeah, so this one would have been perfect for that, but I didn't realise that, and I'm like almost finished it now. So this is what I'm doing, and this is what the crafters call a whip and chat. So we're working a work on progress, and we're just going to chat, and I'm going to tell you about how everything sort of didn't go very well in 2020. So I do actually have one final art video that I recorded at the end of 2019, and I was going to put it up in 2020, but then I was having a bit of a YouTube art break because I completed all the line art for my book, The Mushroom Forest Fairies, and oh, I was so happy to finally have that done. That was, I think it was something like 360 illustrations that went into that book, and I was working on it every day for around 7 hours a day for about 16 months, including weekends. I was working on it to get all that done, and it was like a massive achievement. And like now, it's been many years since I even looked at it, and I look at it and I go, wow, I can't believe I actually managed to do that in hindsight. That was when I decide I'm going to do something, I will like work on something non-stop till it's finished. So diamond paintings are so relaxing because the picture's already there and it gives your hands something to do, and I just go on it. I just keep going until it's completed. So yeah, so I really wish I'd found this hobby earlier, and that it hadn't taken me till 2022, the end of, to discover something I loved. Because when I say I lost my art mojo, it was so strange. Like I took a brief break after I finished my book, and I'd already started writing like the sequel because my first book ended on a cliffhanger. So I was writing the second one, and I was already planning out like the panels and everything of, whoops, I put one extra drill on that, go over there. Yeah, so I was already planning out like all the, like what the pages were going to be and how they were going to match up with each page of the book. And I'd started working on that, and then of course the dreaded sea hit, and the UK shut down. I think it was like the day or 2 days after my birthday, and then I don't know, I wasn't in the right headspace. I just couldn't draw at all, and I just thought, oh, it will get better. summer will come around because I struggle with physical health conditions anyway. So I thought as soon as summer comes around, it'll be all right. I'll get back into doing art and enjoying it again. And that just didn't happen. So I found a different hobby and I took up gardening. It was just a good way to distract myself from the anxiety of the world and our life. So much changed for us, and it became a huge struggle because I'm disabled. My mother was listed as, extremely vulnerable, don't leave the house. And then my father ended up developing health issues as well. So um, things just went mental. And the biggest problem I think we had was because I'm disabled and because my mum was listed as vulnerable, we should have been getting priority food deliveries, and we weren't. And I signed up and we still weren't, and I still couldn't get any deliveries. So every single week, and this was difficult for me at the best of times, let alone COVID times, I was having to make, the weekly grocery run. And for some reason, like the co-op near us, they, they got rid of all of their trolleys. So you had to use baskets. And I have a condition called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And that means, like with my shoulder, especially this one, like my muscles, it cannot hold the joint in place. So trying to lift heavy groceries down a flight of steps, my shoulder was just subluxing. It was just being pulled out of the socket by the weight of the shopping bags. And I ended up with this complete stranger. She was this lovely lady, saw I was struggling because I'd had to put everything down and try and push my shoulder back and go, stay in the stupid socket, you stupid shoulder. I didn't actually say that, but anyway, she came over and she was so nice and she helped me and carried all my shopping for me. But every single time it was so difficult, and the queuing as well, because I have also a condition called tarsal coalitions in my feet, so my ankle joints are deformed. So standing for any more than a few minutes gets very painful very quickly. So not only were we having to stand in shops with the worry of COVID, you had people that were just angry or yelling or picking fights, or just tempers just seemed to be so high that it didn't seem to matter what you did, you were going to get yelled at by someone for something or coughed on. There's this guy that wasn't observing social distances at all back in the early days. And he was standing literally like 2 inches behind me, not wearing a mask and like coughing into my hair. And I was like, oh my God, it was just awful. And I just hated it. So that was so difficult just to get the shopping in, especially when you went down to the shop and you were like, well, I've got the choice of nothing or nothing because there's nothing in the freezer and fridge section to buy. So you're having to like think on the fly of, oh, what can I substitute? Because I meal plan like crazy, or I used to do. And man, I don't know, it was just difficult. It was just a difficult experience all around. And I know lots of other people struggled. There was this really sad story that was in the newspaper at the time of the police found this old man really struggling because he was, very elderly, very disabled, trying to get to the shop just to buy some groceries. And it turned out this old man had actually been living on Domino's takeaway for months and months of the pandemic because he could order it over the phone and get it delivered. And they'd stopped taking phone orders. So this poor guy, he had to struggle out, and the police found him and then realised that, he couldn't manage, and went and got all his groceries for him and made sure he was looked after because this old guy couldn't use the internet or anything. Anyway, I thought that story was such a touching, everyone was struggling. So eventually, after months and months of this, trying to get deliveries, couldn't get deliveries, I actually found what the trick was. The trick was, I think it was Monday at about 1 a.m. in the morning, the new delivery slots would come in on Tesco's for 3 weeks to go, 3 weeks in the future. You could book a slot. So, and they sold, these slots got booked up within minutes. So the trick was like 12 or 1 a.m. Monday morning, make sure you were on Tesco's website to book your slot for 3 weeks in advance. So that's how we ended up doing it. And I ended up doing, I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks of shopping at a time, working a month ahead the whole time. So, but it made life so much easier. It just meant I had to keep up on what are we going to need in 3 weeks or 4 weeks time from now. And that's how our shopping ended up getting done, because we never did get the, oh, I think I'm done with this colour. We never did get the priority, the shipping on that. Just dropped a drill on the sticky bit. Yeah, so I took up gardening during all of the COVID times. Grow your own vegetables, which was very helpful with how bad the stock problem in supermarkets were at the time. And we also took up HelloFresh as well, which was a food delivery service, and that was really fun. And also, because of the stress and everything, you wouldn't be able to tell now, but I lost so much weight over the last 2020 and 2021. It just fell off. I lost, was it nearly 5 stone? It was just because of the stress, and I needed to do something, which of course, being disabled, it's difficult to balance sort of exercise to reduce anxiety and physical health conditions that can flare up with doing too much. So my health was suffering quite badly, and then I mentioned that my dad as well started struggling, and by the beginning of 2021 I was like, we'd been getting late fines for the family business for late VAT payments and stuff, and things were just starting to pile up, and we just thought, oh, it's COVID, it's a struggle. We had to give the people who were renting the factories a grace period of, it's all right, you don't have to pay your rent for a few months, which hit us quite hard as well. And then my dad was just really, really struggling. He was the company secretary for the family business, and my mother and her 2 sisters were the directors. But then by the beginning of 2021, it was evident that my father wasn't doing well. So we had to got the ball rolling. He's not the kind of person who would ever go to doctors, so I kind of had to ask. I rang up and said, look, I'm really worried about my father. He doesn't seem to be able to remember things. So a lot of it, they were like, oh, it could be just stress, it could be depression, and we had to go through all of these tests and all of these hospital appointments, and spent most of 2021 in and out of hospitals for both me and my dad, because I wasn't doing well at all either with my health issues due to all the stress. And eventually, it took about a year, but then we finally got a confirmed diagnosis of Alzheimer's, early onset Alzheimer's. So it was quite a shock, because my father's always been very in control, very intelligent, very on top of things, likes things done a certain way. So, and also very much sort of the only one in the family who can drive, and sort of took care of most of the house stuff. And then just kind of, it happened almost so quickly that it almost felt like overnight, suddenly I was doing more. Oh. Hi, I'm recording a video. What were you showing me? Was that the painted? Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone off the internet, that picture, but they painted the street in the colours of the Ukrainian flag. That's the Russian embassy behind there. And overnight, the council has renamed the road Kiev Road.
You want to hold it up and show it to the video? You can put it either under here or up there. It's probably easier to do that. There you go. I was just talking about you actually in my video.
Oh,
Telling people about your dementia. Would you like to care to weigh in about your dementia? Microphone's there.
I've been asked to weigh in about my dementia.
Yeah.
Are people watching this?
No, but it's going to go up on YouTube.
Ah.
There you go.
So I'm looking at the camera now, if I can remember where it is. That's one of the principal problems with dementia. But I did successfully manage to find my way home from the paper shop this morning.
Well done.
Well, no change there then. But at least things aren't getting worse, obviously.
Hopefully. Yes. Give it some time. I can't remember how I had this set up now. There we go.
Yeah. They painted the road, and overnight the council changed the name of the road to Kiev Street or something, where the Russian embassy is.
Right, yeah. Having fun emptying in my bin.
Yeah, I did. You're very good at finding crap to put in the bin.
It's from the diamond painting because it has a plastic film over it.
That's a heart.
Yeah, that was a heart that was on the wax.
Oh, right. So it's
yeah.
crap.
So I've got another bit of heart on the back.
Right. You don't want that bit.
No, I don't want that bit of wax. They come in this little pot.
Yeah. Also take that.
Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye.
Stop off now.
Yeah. Otherwise I have to edit it.
I'm gone now.
Bye. No, I'm keeping the boxes. I'm going to do something crafty with them.
Oh, cut them up.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to cut them up and turn them into small boxes. Okay, so that was my dad. How is that for timing? His ears must have been burning. Yeah, the boxes we were just talking about are actually the Diamond Art Club boxes that the kits come in. Did I say this was from Diamond Art Club? Don't know. I've been talking for what feels like forever, and I haven't really talked much about diamond painting. That's because I was still going through the year of 2021. So we ended up having to sell the family business, which was very difficult. It took so long. We did get a good price for it in the end, but the lawyers were awful. Do not use Hart Brown. If you're in the UK, do not use Hart Brown. So just don't use them. They were bad. So it dragged on, and it was definitely their end that was holding it up, not the buyer's lawyers. It was our lawyers that was having the issues. So that dragged on for like an extra 4 months, and it got to the point where we were like every couple of weeks we were having to send new bank statements and find new documents, and because it had then turned into the next month, we were then having to do it all over again because our lawyers were taking so long to complete the sale that we then had to keep sending up-to-date records of all this. And because my dad couldn't remember where things were or where things were saved, and it became a whole thing of I'd finally gotten my first smartphone in 2021 because my beloved old flip phone that I had for 15 years finally gave up the ghost. And I was so sad because I was very anti-technology. I was like, what's wrong with a pay-as-you-go flip phone? They're brilliant. It was a Motorola, you know, the classic flip phones from 2004-5, where you saw them on all the TV programs because it was the in phone to have. It was such a good phone. Dropped it so many times and it never broke. But it gave up on life, my phone. So I had to get a smartphone. So of course that coincided with the sale of the company, and my sister-in-law was helping deal with it as well, and I was dealing on bits on my end for it. But my phone would be going off constantly with these emails of this needs to be addressed, this needs to be found, we need to send this to this person, they need up-to-date bank statements for this. And thing is, these messages tended to be coming in at like 10 o'clock at night. And it was like, trying to deal with that stuff when you're tired and you're stressed and you're still struggling with the pandemic and keeping everything together. And my dog got sick as well, so she ended up having to go in for surgery around the same time. And I had my first COVID vaccination, and I had a horrendous reaction to it. It was so bad, as in we were calling 999, and because they were so swamped, they wouldn't send anyone out. But my throat swelled up so badly that I couldn't breathe, I couldn't talk, I couldn't swallow. It was so painful. And they just said, well, we'll get someone to ring you back in an hour. Eventually they rang. This was like early afternoon when they said that. Eventually I got a phone call at 4 a.m. By the time I'd gotten to the phone, they'd hung up because they rang the house phone. Um, and then it ended up being, uh, yeah, then they rang again an hour later, and again I missed the call because I'd gone back to my bed and they'd rung on the house phone. So by the next day it settled down a bit, but it kept flaring up quite badly. So they sent me in for endoscopy, I think that's the word, where they stick a camera down your throat, and that was horrendous. And they couldn't find anything. And then it kind of got better on its own. And then I had my second vaccination, and that's I had the exact same reaction. So those two were both Pfizer. And then, okay, this seems like there might be a connection here. Also during that summer of 2021 as well, I had to go in for all these heart monitor tests and stuff because I kept having these blackouts and passing out and ending up on the floor. I'd just stand up, be so dizzy, my eyes would just turn to black, and then the worst time was when I actually came to on the floor with stuff knocked over everywhere. I don't know how long I'd been out, but at that point I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to find out what's going on here. why am I collapsing? Yeah, so in the end, after all these horrible tests and everything, they then found that I had something called orthostatic hypertension. They suspected actually that it could have been POTS, posterior tachycardia syndrome, which is very closely related to Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which I have. But they didn't have a tilt table that they could do the proper tests on. So yeah, I couldn't get a POTS diagnosis, but a lot of other stuff as well, like issues with my feet and really severe chilblains where my feet are just going like black, purple, look terrible. That's apparently also a POTS, another POTS symptom as well. So in March, I've got my specialist appointment with my EDS specialist, so I'll bring up this stuff again with her. So yeah, that was 2021. It wasn't very fun. I then had a hospital appointment in London, and I'd just gotten really sick with a chest infection, but I went anyway because I was like, I've been waiting for this appointment for months. But that was hard going. And then I'd just gotten over being ill, and then I had my third vaccine, my booster. This time it was a different one. It wasn't the Pfizer one. It was the one that begins with an M. Can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, like Minova or Minerva or... Anyway, I had the exact same allergic reaction with my throat swelling up and it taking months. This time it really dragged on. It just didn't get better. So I was still struggling with my swollen throat by the beginning of 2022. And then eventually I said to the doctor, look, 2 could be a coincidence, but happening 3 times is a pattern, you know. And they said, okay, we've made a note of it. You can now apply for medical exemption, so you don't have to get the vaccine now because we've logged all your symptoms and reported them to whatever health authority it was that was taking stock of this. But ironically, my uncle as well, he had a really severe reaction where he ended up with like these really bad nosebleeds and stuff from the vaccine he got, which was a very rare side effect. But so yeah, that was my some of my experiences of then. And unfortunately then can I say then enough times in this sentence then? Yeah, with being so ill and the allergic reactions and everything, I did like the complete opposite of when I was losing weight because of the stress. And then I started gaining weight because of the stress. So all that like 4.5 stone that I lost, I put all back on and a bit more. And I was kind of sad because I was like small. I was like a UK size 8, and I was like, wow, this is the smallest I've ever been. So it had its benefits, the stress weight loss. But now I made the mistake of throwing out all my clothes, my big clothes, going, yeah, I'm never going to put that weight back on. Yeah, now I have no jeans that fit. So At the moment, I'm in leggings anyway because it's cold and it's winter. Um, so yeah, I didn't touch my art at all for between 2020 to 2022. I did, so in 3 years I've done about, I think, 11 finished, fully finished coloured illustrations. 11 in 3 years. And you know, back in my YouTube prime, I'd probably do about that in 2 weeks. So I just don't get the enjoyment from it anymore. Like, I just feel like I have no creativity, no imagination. I also fell into the really bad the YouTube trap, or just artist trap in general, where you start, even if you don't mean to, you start like comparing yourself. And I just lost my monetization rights as well, because I just hadn't been uploading much because I've been struggling. So losing the monetization was a bit of a kick in the guts, because it kind of reinforced my own negative feelings of, I failed. I can't do this. I can't compete. I'm not good enough. Which, I'm good enough. It's all good. It's just if people who have anxiety and depression and self-esteem issues, sometimes it can all just build, and I stopped feeling comfortable sharing my artwork. Like, I've got some nice pictures actually. One in particular that I actually did just this Christmas gone. I'll just show it on here. But like uploading it to websites and things like Twitter or Instagram. Like, I put up a few, and it's in here, I think. There we go. That's where it's a little foxy. I was quite proud of this when I did it, but I just couldn't bring myself to share it. Like, I took the photograph and everything, and I was gonna put it on Twitter and Instagram, and I just couldn't. And I'm not sure. I think it's just because my own self-confidence thing. I just don't feel able to share my art anymore, and it's kind of sad. And all that time I wasn't doing art, I was really missing it, because art was such a huge part of my life for such a long time. Drink. That it was just really sad. Oh, I just realised you can't actually see the bit that I'm working because my camera was blocking it. Okay. Yeah, because I've never gone my whole life this long before without really drawing. I need more wax in my pen. Stab the heart. Yeah. Yeah, the only other time was when, because I'd done art my whole life. Like, since I was a kid, I was making what I used to call picture stories, because I was very late at being able to read and write. So they were picture stories, so you didn't need to be able to read to tell what was happening, because it told the story itself. And then I got more into doing comics and stuff. I did my art GCSE, and then I did art A-level, which I nearly failed. And then I went to art university to study animation. That was back in 2007. And I really didn't enjoy that. I felt too pressured. Like, art isn't fun anymore if you're working to a time scale and you've got to get stuff done. And it's so I dropped out of that, and then I took 7 months off art in 2008 completely, just to get, oh, have I done this colour? I finished a colour, yay! Just to kind of have a break from it. And then I got really into comics that I was uploading on Facebook, and that's how I got my name, my Crazy Comic Lady name, was because people kept seeing, like, why have you tagged this person in this picture? And it's like, you're a Crazy Comic Lady. And that's how I got my name. And that was fun. And then I progressed from that to YouTube, and then into commissions and stuff like that. Yeah, and that was fun, and I used to enjoy it. I was like, yeah, what am I going to work on today? And I'd make custom game controllers as well. I don't have any to hand that I can grab to show you, but maybe in the next Whip and Chat, if I do another one, if anyone enjoys this kind of me just chatting to you while you work on whatever you guys are doing. Actually, that's something. What are you guys doing right now? Tell me about how is your the couple years of hell experience with 2020 to 2023. Have you guys how did you all fare? Tell me stories. I can't have been the only one struggling, because I know I wasn't the only one struggling. So, but I definitely lost control of my anxiety during those years. I just didn't have any way of controlling it anymore, especially when art was always my happy place of it brings me joy kind of thing. It's suddenly getting really dark. It's because it's throwing it down with rain outside. I was like, it's getting really dark because I can't really see what I'm doing. I'm gonna have to put my little light on. Move my trays out of the way. Whoops, spill them. So yeah, tell me stories. Tell me how you guys are doing. Tell me about your experiences with the dreaded sea. There we go. Light. Now I can see what I'm doing. So yeah, it was really sad, like not having my art anymore, because that was always my happy escape place. And it just, for some reason, I think with the YouTube issues, and there'd been various dramas on my channel in the past, and it was just very difficult to keep the motivation going with it. And it got to the point after all the drama of the last few years where I'd open my sketchbook and I'd be like, ugh, I don't wanna. It was like the equivalent of like doing your taxes or doing bank work or hospital appointments. It was sort of that kind of feeling of, oh, do I have to? I really don't want to have to do this. Yeah, so that's basically, wow. My face is bright and very bright. Maybe this wasn't a good idea having them. What happens if I turn it away? Is that a bit better? That's a bit better. There we go. The joys of doing stuff in real time. So, where did I get to? Lost my train of thought. Oh, I got a new computer. So this is my very first video being recorded with my new computer, which is Windows 11, and it was a custom built one because I loved my laptop, absolutely loved it. It was an Alienware gaming laptop, but it was really heavy and it used to get really hot, so it wasn't actually a laptop because it would burn you if you had it on your legs. So anyway, the battery went funny in it and like completely crashed. So I couldn't even power it on. It just said you have experienced a terminal battery failure. I got a brand new battery. Excuse me if you heard that, I just burped. So polite. Yeah, it was saying terminal battery failure, and I got a new one. Just a cheap knockoff one, and that didn't even last a year and just wasn't charging. And then the same problem happened of, like, even when it was plugged in from the mains, if you walked away from it for just a few like seconds, it was just it was cutting out and dying, and then so it was absolutely useless in terms of like uploading a video or anything. So we have this computer repair guy. I mixed the two words together. Called Michael. He's our computer dude. He's called the Tech Guy. So if you're in Surrey, in the UK, look him up. The Tech Guy. He's very, very good because he's done all of our computers in the past, because we've had a lot of computer issues. And my dad still uses Windows XP on his very old computer that we bought, I think, in 2004. So yeah, that's broken on many occasions. The worst one was when we got struck by lightning. So the house, just off from the house, we saw the lightning come down, and it blew out our router. And my dad's computer was on and connected to the router, and it blew out the motherboard in his computer. And of course, at that point, that was before we'd sold the family business, so that was the work computer. And trying to get a replacement motherboard for a computer that was built in 2004. I found one, just one, on eBay, and fortunately it wasn't very far from us as well, which was amazing. It was like a 20-minute drive. So I bought it on eBay and said, hey, look, if we bring the computer to you, can you install it? Because, you know, we're not really computer people, we don't know what we're doing. So I installed the mother drive on that, and then I can't remember who they were. And then whenever the next time it broke, I can't remember what we were on. I think the hard drive like had a malfunction and it couldn't Like you log in and like all your stuff had disappeared. So that's when we reached out to Michael, the tech guy, and he fixed that computer and helped me with. We also had a Windows 10 computer as well, but it was so slow. Like I don't know what was wrong with it. So I gave that to him as well and said, look, we've got this Windows 10 laptop. It takes like 20 minutes to boot up and it's so slow. So he uninstalled and reinstalled Windows 10 on it, and then it works fine. So that was just dodgy, I think, from day one. That was a Dell computer as well. But yeah, that works now. Not that it gets used. It's technically my mother's computer, but she can't even work her new smartphone that my brother gave her. Often she comes up to me into my room and says, hey, I can't send this. Can you write it for me? So yeah, my computer broke, and I was like, let's contact my repair dude and say, can you find like a battery that will actually not die after a few months for this? And he couldn't. He tried, and he was getting really frustrated with it because he couldn't find decent batteries as well, because he was doing these system checks and it was coming up with errors and stuff on it. And he was like, I give up. I just can't deal with old computers. They're just too difficult. So I then found a genuine battery on eBay, but it was from overseas. It was really pricey, but I was like, okay, I really want my laptop back, my Windows 7 laptop that I love. I will get it. And it was like £108 or so. And then after, I think it was like about 3 months, it hadn't turned up, and I messaged them and I was like, I think I just opened a claim on eBay and said, I haven't got my battery. And they gave me an immediate refund. So I'm guessing they didn't even send it because it had been so long, the currency exchange rates had changed. So I paid 108. I got back £97 because of the change in the currency conversion, whatever's. So I was like, that makes me think that was probably a scam and they did it on purpose, just so they wouldn't have to refund me exactly what I paid. Yeah. So I gave up. My old computer is still sitting on the floor, batteryless, and I was like, hey Michael, can you build me a custom Windows 11 computer and make sure all my old software still works on it? Because I have this one piece of art editing software, which I've actually had to use in the past as well for diamond painting, before I realized about legally licensed artwork, I was buying stuff on like Amazon and eBay. And the experience I had with one of those kits was so bad. The colours, I looked at it and went, yeah, they've used like 399, the really dark blue, in all of the skin. And I'm like, this is just going to look like a floating head with no body. So I took a photograph of the canvas. I had the original art up and I overlaid them in my art editing software, and then worked out where I needed to like rechart it and switch out the colors for something else. That was miserable. That was a horrible experience. I was like hating on diamond paintings at that point, because it took me double the amount of time it would have usually have done to do a 40 by 50 painting, because I was having to rechart all of it. But it came out all right. I'm not sure, sort of reluctant to show any of my older diamond paintings, because again, it was before I'd realized about legally licensing artwork, and that most of the diamond paintings on Amazon and eBay are 99% of them are stolen artwork, which, being an artist myself and knowing firsthand what it feels like to lose control of your artwork, it's a horrible, horrible feeling, and I don't like any artist to have to experience that. So yeah, now I only buy from licensed diamond painting companies. Wow, I'm going to need more drink. So yeah, so at the moment I've only purchased from 3 companies, uh, which is Diamond Art Club, DIY Moonshop, and the One with the Diamond Art, which is a UK-based company. So um, my experiences so far have been mixed um, with getting them. So I ordered my DIY Moonshop or Diamond Shop kit on the 20th of December, and I've only just got an email notification on, what's today's date? The 24th of the 2nd, I finally got an email notification saying that it's been shipped. And so that was exactly, I guess that was exactly 8 weeks-ish. Yeah, but I don't think I'm likely to make a habit of getting from them because I don't like waiting that long. Because I was just like worrying it. Like I haven't heard any updates. I kind of don't want to bother them by reaching out and messaging them to ask, like what's going on in my package. Because I don't want to be rude because they're a small shop. I think they're a small shop anyway. I think they're a family-run business anyway. But also they are quite pricey, although I have heard like a lot of people in America really struggle with the shipping from Dime Moonshop. If you're in the UK, it's not that bad. I think it was like £16 shipping. And they had all these winter codes out as well to save 40% on Diamond Art as well. So it wasn't too bad when people... Well, then I did get the round kits. If you get square or candy kits, then yeah, then the price just jumps just insanely. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'll stick with rounds. And I recently only just this week put in a One with the Diamond Art order, and they've been absolutely lovely. It was a painting that I'd had in my wish list for a while of these foxes. It was so cute, and I had something like, it was even in my cart actually. I had this painting sitting in my cart, and yeah, I was just, because not cheap to buy these things, so I tend to put stuff in my cart, go away, think about it, and try and really decide whether or not I desperately want that piece. So it had been sitting in my cart for a few weeks. I went back and it had vanished, and I went to my wish list and it said page not found. So I messaged them and I said, have these sold out? Are you going to get more stock? And they said, no, sorry, it was a limited run. And I was like, I'm so sad. It's so silly to be so sad over missing out on a diamond painting, really. But yeah, I was really bummed. I was like, I really wanted that foxy picture. Though I sent a message and I said, oh, that's so sad. I really wanted that one. Is there by any chance one hiding somewhere in a warehouse that I could pinch? And I didn't expect them to get back to me, but they went and had a look. And a few hours passed because they said, well, we'll have a look. We'll see if we can find any. A few hours passed and I was like, yeah, they're not going to find any. And I got a message saying, good news, we found one in stock. We've got one kit left of this. And I was like, yes, thank you. Mine, please. Like, I didn't know what size. I didn't know what shape. I was just like, yep, mine. Thank you. Want it. So that was good. And she was really lovely, and they gave me free shipping, which was so nice, because they sent me like the PayPal invoice directly to me. I didn't go via the website. And I also got, actually, I was going to pull you off. I'm getting a lot of like these weird, I'm not sure if you can focus. I don't think that's going to show up. Right, so these are AB drills. But a lot of them like don't have the sparkly coating on them. It's like worn off. If you don't know what an AB drill is, it's called an Aurora Borealis drill. It's basically, you might see it better on this one. So they're these drills that have got like the super sparkly coating on the top that makes them shine extra shiny. And for some reason, the ones in number 3, they're just the gold ones. They just don't have, some of them are just like deformed and don't have the right. In fact, I've been having a lot of trouble with the drills in this kit, which so I feel like I'm jumping between thoughts and not finishing thoughts. But yeah, the drills on this kit have been horrendous. I don't know if I can find the green ones. Have been awful. Let's see if... Also, there's lots of like this little like these weird bits of trash where I'm pointing at it, but it's that they're like weird deformed shapes, and there's tons that got holes in, and I've got like a whole section over here, which they've all got like little tabs on the side, or holes in them, or the bottoms are all concaved and they won't stick. And I've also been having trouble with the glue on this canvas, which this is my second Diamond Art Club canvas. And yeah, so I spent ages trying to get through my very cheap, unlicensed Amazon eBay kits before I started any of my my Diamond Art Club kits, because I kept hearing people on the website and on the Facebook group and everything saying, once you do a Diamond Art Club canvas, you never go back. And so I was expecting like amazing quality, like straight out of the gate. So I was like, I've got to finish all my cheap unlicensed Amazon kits first, because I don't like waste, and I do appreciate the art even though I have no idea who the artist is. So it's kind of my way of doing it. Whereas now going forward, I support the artist with the buying of the legal art. But anyway, so everyone had gone on about Diamond Art Club being so fantastic, you'll never go back after you get a Diamond Art Club. And yeah, so my very first kit was Snow Leopard by Sandra. Hold on, let's pull out the logbook. Diamond painting logbook. This was actually a book that my grandmother, my nanny, gave me when I was like 12 years old, and I never used it, and I thought this would be perfect to use. Anyway, so this was it by Sandra Winther, Snow Leopard. So that's now finished and is hanging up on my door somewhere. One of my doors. When I run out of door space, I plan on getting those freestanding clothes rails and just hanging them on that, because they're too big to fit in any of my portfolios. But yeah, when I did Snow Leopard, I was so disappointed. Like the drills were just sandwiched together. Like I've heard about static before, but I'd never experienced static in my life. And all the drills were just so stuck together. So I bought dryer sheets, tumble dryer sheets, because I had no idea what tumble dryer sheets were. I'd never heard of them in my life. Well, just dryer sheets as they were referred to. So I looked at that and I found some on Tesco's, because we've never had to use them in our tumble dryer, so I never knew they were a thing. That was another weird. Oh, well, it can stay. It was another weird drill which didn't have proper shiny bits on it. As in, they're definitely AB drills, because you can see like fragments of the sparkle that should have been on the coating, but not. It's like it's peeled off or something. I don't know, it's weird. Anyway, so the first kit I had, the Snow Leopard, they were so stuck together it was just like impossible to multi-place. You couldn't. You had to pick around the drills in the tray just to kind of get anything on the canvas. It took ages. I was getting really frustrated. The dryer sheets did not separate the drills at all. I asked for help in the Facebook group, and someone said, put them in a bag and then go over them with a rolling pin. So I did that, but it ended up destroying the bag. Some of them came apart, but not all of them. And then I did the method of sandwiching them between two trays and like squishing them, like really crunching them. That did help as well, but again, not all of them. These were just insane. Never seen drills like it in my life. That stuck together. And I've got quite long nails, so I was trying to like see if I could like pick them apart. And no, it flew off everywhere and it went in my mouth. So I was like, oh, crying out loud. So that was a really bad experience. with my first Diamond Art Club kit, and then there were bits as well of the canvas where it was really like slidey, like the glue was really slidey. I'd never had that problem before with any of my cheapy Amazon kits, so I was like, maybe it's a fluke. Maybe it's a fluke. My second kit will be better, this one. And this one has had its problems as well, but different problems. So I'm not sure if I've been unlucky twice in a row when it's come to Diamond Art Club kits, or yeah, I don't know. Oh, have I finished with all threes? No, not quite. There's 3 down here. I'm not sure if you can even see this, but there we go. I wiggled you. Okay. So this canvas, the glue has been terrible. Like spotty. It's like this. Most of it's fine, and then you'll find just these weird like patches where it's literally just the size of like a tiny drill filled loop, and there's just no stick. There's no stick on it, and it's like I can't. It won't stick, and there's definitely no plastic there because I'd check and I'd like scrape it with the tweezers just to make sure there wasn't anything like on the canvas or anything, and there wasn't. And I found the only way then to get the drill to stick, so let's use a drill that I'm actually going to put down. Right, so you'd have to put it down, smoosh it around to get the stick next to it, and then slide it into the spot. And it's so frustrating because it's just like certain points of the middle was the worst. Certain bits of the canvas, and over on the left hand side, this side, was quite bad as well. But it's just like certain bits. And then the drills on these ones all having those tabs and holes and the concave bottoms as well. I wonder if that might have been some of the problem I was having trying to stick. Maybe I was sticking dud drills down or something, but I don't know. So this one has had its problems as well. Also, so this is one of the newer kits as well because it came with the white tray. So the older kits came with this really nice sort of see-through with gold flecks sparkly tray, which was really pretty. And this one came with this new white tray, and I do not like this new white tray because like the drills get stuck. You see, like out here, right? It's like, I'm not sure what it is. It's like static or something, but when you've got not many left in the tray and you're trying to get them to line up and they're just stuck and you're like, get down, get down. It's just frustrating. And I tried washing this out with a dryer sheet as well, and that didn't make any difference. The drills just keep sticking to it, and it's frustrating. So I do not know if I've just been unlucky twice in a row with Diamond Art Club. I'm hoping so because I perhaps bought too many before I'd even started my first one. So we shall see how that progresses. And wow, so we've nearly hit the hour mark. I don't think I finished my computer story. My brand new computer that was made for me by Michael, the tech guy. And I hate new stuff, like new technology, and unless I had to use it, like my new smartphone. I don't like I don't like new stuff. I don't like change. I'm very like, this is the way it is. This is how I know how it works. This is what I'll use. Anyway, he had terrible trouble trying to get some of my software working, mostly my scanner, for some reason, even though like on the website it said, oh, here's a driver for Windows 11. You clicked on it and the file was empty, and it's like, well, okay, so we're gonna have to download some Windows 10 drivers and see which one works and play around. But eventually we got my scanner back because I love my scanner. It's like this little portable, whoops, sorry, camera. This little portable USB plug-in scanner, so you don't have to use power cord, which is good because I'm out of power sockets. So I've got extension cords everywhere, and I still don't have enough sockets. Anyway, what was I doing? So saying, yeah, so got my new computer. We managed to get almost all the software working. The only stuff that doesn't work is my old Windows 98 games, which I can live without, but I would have liked them. Like Mopey Fish. Does anyone remember Mopey Fish? Mopey Fish was like the first ever virtual pet that was also a screensaver. and if you didn't feed him, he died, and then he floated at the top of the screen. I love Mopey Fish. I always had Mopey Fish as my screensaver for years and years and decades. So long, Mopey Fish. I also had this snake game as well called Mamba, which was actually a Turkish game that my friend had copied onto a floppy disk for me when I was, I want to say, 6 or 7 years old. I love that game because you're playing as this little spider, and the trick is to try and capture the snake by making webs. It was just this funny little tiny blocky game. I enjoyed it. So sadly, those don't work anymore. But anyway, so I finally, after many months of my computer just sitting there, because I get so stressed with new stuff and buying new computers and knowing what I wanted, and the monitor as well. So thank you so much, Hyperstar, if you're watching, because she helped me pick out the monitor. And it's a good monitor, and it's got built-in speakers in it, which is great because I'm very low on space and stuff. Although I do have a Bluetooth speaker as well. But yeah, the monitor's great. But I spent so long stressing about it. And the day that it got installed was actually the day the neighbours went and cut through our phone line outside. So we had no internet. So we were having to feed data to my computer to set it up when he came round to set it up and make sure all the software was working and stuff. We were having to feed it the data from our phones to be able to get stuff updated and get it all how I wanted it, which was a nightmare. It was just like, why couldn't they have been careful? They decided to dig up their front garden and weren't careful. They moved their phone wire out of the way, but cut right through ours. So it ended up taking 8 weeks to fix our phone and internet line. So I ate through my data like crazy. I was really stressed. One foot didn't seem to know what the other foot was doing. Even though our phone and internet is technically owned by the same company, they're all interconnected. One is BT and the other one is EE. It used to be called FreeServe, and then it turned to Orange, and now it's EE, but it's basically owned by BT. But one foot didn't know what the other foot was doing. They couldn't figure out what was going on. They had to run a temporary, because I said, my mum has so many hospital phone call appointments. I have phone call appointments, which is fine. I can use my mobile, but they're dependent on the house phone. So I managed to get them to come and run in a temporary line across. They basically put it from out of the cover in the street. They put a wire, put a cone around it, and draped it over our hedges and attached it to the house. So we had a temporary wire for phone, but still no internet. The internet just was not functioning at all. I've never seen it. It was like 0.4 megabits a second or something. It's like, yeah, I couldn't do anything with it. So anyway, it took 8 weeks to fix that. Whoops. It's pulled my wax out. The only bad thing about ABs is it really just pulls out the wax. So yeah, that was fixing. That was fun. And eventually we did manage to get them. They came out. They dug up our drive. They put on a whole new wire with a like in a tube. So it's like protected, so it's never going to happen again. And then they re-concreted it. Wax came out again. Then they tarmacked the driveway. Re-tarmacked the driveway. Yeah, but by that point I was like, oh, I'm going to have to like play with my new computer and just check that everything works. So it took a while to get like my recording stuff all up again and Discord wouldn't work anymore. I had to delete and reinstall Discord. But basically my new computer, it thinks it's my old computer, like on the Google thing where you can link your Google account to different devices. It still comes up saying Alien, which is the name of my old laptop. So yeah, my new computer thinks it's my old computer. And then I finally started using it and really enjoying having the big screen because I can watch stuff while diamond painting. And then and then it broke. And like all I was doing was watching YouTube videos of diamond painters and whipping chats and things because they're just what I enjoy now. And it kept crashing, like literally 20 minutes, crash, blue screen of death, restart, log in, uh, you know, restart, log in. Within 10 seconds, it's crashed again before I've even opened Google. Blue screen of death, error, error, error. And I was like, this is a brand new computer. All I'm doing is asking it to open Google. What on earth is going on? So I rang up my tech guy and I was like, yeah, the computer's broken. And he thought maybe it had been like, at first thought it was maybe the update, because the only thing that I'd done differently was install the latest Windows update for Windows 11. But then he had a thought about it and he actually rang me back and he said, I'm going to come and pick it up and look at it and do some tests on it, because I think what you've got is actually a faulty RAM module. And lo and behold, that's what it was. It was a faulty RAM module. So it's been working perfectly since he switched out the RAM and put the new RAM in it, which is good. So yeah, but that was stressful because I got like leading up to this Christmas was a bit of a disaster. So the week of Christmas, right, the automatic gearbox in the car broke. The light bulb in my room just above my desk, it didn't just break, it like disintegrated in the fitting and you couldn't unscrew it. It was just dangling by like wires because it had just, I don't know, melted in the fitting or something. Anyway, so that wasn't too bad. Then the tumble dryer broke, and the central heating went. And my partner's daughter's grandmother got COVID, so I was on kid sitting duty as well on the same day that our central heating broke and the tumble dryer broke. So I was doing kid minding, and it was also the same day I had blood appointments up at the hospital. So I went to the hospital, and my partner's daughter, my stepdaughter, came with me for that. And yeah, I got sick. Yeah. I managed to get the central heating fixed. Fortunately, I knew a plumber, but he was swamped, but he gave me a name of another plumber who fit me in. We only didn't have central heating for 36 hours, which was amazing considering it was literally 4 days before Christmas. So we got that, I got that sorted. And then because I went up to the hospital for my blood tests, I got sick. Because the guy next to me wasn't wearing a mask and he was choking everywhere. And even though I was wearing a mask, that didn't stop me from getting the worst flu on the planet. So the day before Christmas, I was so unwell. Christmas didn't happen to me. And it wasn't just a little unwell, it was like everything unwell. This was like joint pain, this was sweats, chills, diarrhea, vomiting, joint pain, you name it, I had it. I was awful for 5 weeks. 2 lots of antibiotics because the pain, I just couldn't sleep because of the pain in my lung. It was really bad. So I did do quite a lot of, even though I was really sick, I did a lot of diamond painting on my bed, just with like little canvases. I think at one point I did fall asleep with like a tray of drill sitting on my stomach, which I think ended up all over my bed. But, you know, it gave me something to do besides feeling awful and unwell and staying in bed. So I diamond painted in bed when I wasn't sleeping for 5 weeks. 5 weeks I was so ill. So now we're in February and I feel like it should be Christmas. Like, I lost New Year and I lost Christmas, and it's like, my year has not started off too brilliantly. But let's hope things get better. I have lots more exciting stories to share, but I don't think you guys are going to want to be sitting here for an entire hour. You've already been sitting here for an entire hour, so I'm amazed if you guys are still here. You should have seen some of the false starts I had with this because I'm so out of practice. I couldn't remember how I set up my camera, which is over here. Wobble wobble. It's attached to my lamp, but I can't remember. I couldn't remember like how I used to have it attached. So it's not quite how I used to have it. It's not as stable as it used to be. But then I haven't recorded videos for 3 years. But there is one video I'm thinking of uploading and sharing with you. Well, it's already uploaded, I just haven't had the confidence to make it go live, which was a flick through of my book, my Mushroom Fairy book. So I am going to put that up just because even though it was recorded in 2020 and I keep talking about, oh, I'm going to do more Twitch streams in 2020, I still think the content is quite relevant. And I'd actually forgotten so much of my thoughts and feelings as I was working on that book. So rewatching it, I actually found was kind of interesting because I'd forgotten pretty much all of the stuff I'd said about it and the things that I'd had issues with and things. So I will probably upload that, but that's most likely going to be the last art video on my channel. So, like I said, I'm really into my diamond paintings now because I fell into that trap, that YouTube trap of, yeah, as I said, comparing yourself to other artists and not feeling good enough. And as a result, I stopped being able to enjoy other people's art as well. I know it sounds awful. It sounds like selfish and horrible, but I was really struggling with my own self-esteem and stuff. So I kind of disappeared from the art community completely. And then when I found diamond painting, it was like I was looking literally, you're not really thinking about the artist or the person behind the art, you're just looking at the image and really appreciating like the details and the image and studying it. And yeah, so I refound my appreciation for art because it's not so tied into the artist, whereas if you're following someone directly on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you're very kind of, there's always the things that can happen where, okay, we don't share the same values. And if you've had negative experiences commissioning people or stuff in the past, you then kind of associate the art with the negative experience, so you can't appreciate the art as much. At least that's what I found personally. But now I can really appreciate the art again, and I really like it. And my way of supporting the artist is to buy licensed diamond paintings, so I don't have to get. That's my way of supporting the artist without getting too overly involved to the point where it might make me not appreciate the art as much. So yeah, that's my take on it. I'm enjoying it. It's been very good for my anxiety and my mental health, which has been a plus because I was really struggling. But I'll go into that into like another day. So yeah, I think I've been talking your ears off for quite a while. Wow, 1 hour and 7 minutes according to the timer on this. So I will let you go. Thank you so much for joining me for my whip and chat. I'm going to get this finished today. Definitely. This is day 9 and it's nearly done. It's 50 by, oh, it says on it, 50.7 centimeters by 70.6 centimeters. So I'm definitely going to do some small kits after doing 2 big ones in a row because these are quite time consuming. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. If by some miracle you actually made it to the end of the video, I don't know, comment something. Tell me about your years. Tell me about your Christmas. Tell me if you like diamond painting. Comment with a little fox emoji because we were working on the Dreaming Kidsu today. Little foxy. Whoops, just pulled a drill off. Bad drill. Because I haven't squished you down properly. Okay. I usually go over it with a roller once it's done just to make sure everything's flat. Anyway, I'm going to really let you go this time. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye!